These are my patch notes. I was just listening to Birdie talking on the 6 o'clock news, which must be some, I don't know, is it Irish? But I thought actually I had a memory that they were Irish living in California. She's in the States now. But I realized I was missing a lot at the Birdie gig in Prism. Probably because I didn't invite my daughter, but I didn't think my daughter would want to come, and I didn't know what on earth was going to happen, so I didn't even mention it to her. But there were some lovely, lovely little girls on the stage right, opposite the side where I was. I was hidden away at the back, up stage left. There's a kind of lounge bar. With actually some seats for old geriatric cretins who can't move their legs. And I sat on the seat for quite a while at the beginning. It was also a nice place to hide. And but unfortunately that end meant I was behind a huge stack of speakers. I don't know what they were playing. I have no idea. I mean, for all I know, the people in the audience were probably hearing something completely different to what I was hearing. But Prism is really interesting. I don't know what the electronics are behind it, but depending on what electronics they've got behind it, you could do some absolutely incredible experiments in that place. Very, very impressed. It's Brixton Academy in colour, then slightly smaller, I think. And it was an old cinema, wasn't it? I didn't really analyse that, but it looked like an old Odeon or something. I'm just looking up the English churches, designs of English churches. And now, as soon as I said old Odeon, I bet there's a catalogue somewhere on the internet of all the designs of Odeon cinemas that are around the country. Now we need to make a catalogue of what they've been used for. I've just discovered that Google Maps tour guides, Google Maps guides, and are really, really interesting. Up to now, all I've seen is food photos, local food photos. The food in Harrow that you can get if you've got money is absolutely outrageous. I'm pretty sure nowadays you can even get coca leaves here, but I don't have the connection. All I have is a black balloon, Elizabeth. Really, at your age. I'm gonna have to put my stupid glasses on. I had a really interesting time in the graveyards. Wow, there are some beautiful churches here. And what I discovered was that Watling Street is actually not very long at all. I have walked the full length of it. I finished this morning. I ended up at the end of Watling Street. There is a tiny little crescent, which I didn't know about until this morning when I looked on Google Maps, called the Hook. And that's just before St. Stephen's Church, which is where Watling Street joins Wood Lane, St. Albans. And that's as far as I got with St. Stephen's. And I exhausted. I kind of piled into the, what's the name of the kind of porch? Is that the vestry? Or whatever. I looked up Google to try and find out all the anatomy of English churches, but I must have Googled the wrong thing. Anyway, that was this morning. I ran out of batteries. I suddenly had this thing. I thought I have to upload that thing about the 3 crosses in the churchyard. And I guess I was a hot beaver in a churchyard. I didn't make it to King's Gate. King's Gate is just after St. Stephen's. And I was uploading the video at King's Gate when the batteries ran out on my phone and it shut down. I did put power saving on. It was about 4%, and I put power saving on. I turned off the screen, and I was really hoping that there would be enough bandwidth available to get that video up before dawn, and it didn't work. So I walked back. And that was a 25 hour, no, it wasn't actually 24 hours. It was probably only 20 hours of hiking. I should have done the full 24. I would have had enough time. And if I'd had enough smarts, I would have taken my USB. But I wasn't planning to go all the way to St. Albans yesterday. I was only going to go as far as Radlett. Anyway, I came back and I had a lovely, lovely breakfast at Radlett. An Indian girl who told me something purely psychically about Krishna. And it's all the beings. I didn't write it down. Should have written it down. But it's when the beings are differently. When the beings get polarized, then you get this creation of disorder, and you get gods. And that's what I've been doing. That's my guilt. I've been that for years, because I don't meditate. I should just meditate and shut up, and then all this would be fine. There would be no problems. It's this urge to create that's the problem. And all we're doing really is trying to smooth everything out into some kind of opalescent point where the whole universe is an opal, where anything that happens is spontaneous, but there's an immense amount of structure in there. This is something James Lovelock said in his Gaia course. He said the heat death of the universe isn't a particular problem for me. He said, because the lower the temperature is, the more structure you can have. So as the universe cools, it becomes an opal. And at the moment we've got this blue ball of love. And there's some pretty hot stuff going on the surface, but it's lovely if you can put up with it. That would be a nice place to end.